When you're desperate for rent, you start seeing compromise as logic. That's how I ended up with Lacey Monroe. It was mid-July in Brooklyn, and the air conditioner in my fourth-floor walk-up was already surrendering to the humidity. I had a week to find a roommate before I'd miss rent, and my inbox was filled with red flags. People who spelled their names in all lowercase, others who asked if 420 indoors was cool, and one guy who attached a photo of himself shirtless, flexing, in front of what appeared to be a rented Lambo. And then there was Lacey. She showed up early to the interview with a green suitcase, a reusable coffee cup, and that effortless kind of charisma you can't fake. Blonde waves, oversized sunglasses, a thrift store sundress that looked like it cost hundreds, and a voice like she'd spent summers on the coast. She looked around the apartment like it was the perfect boho chic oasis, and when I mentioned rent, she handed over a cash deposit like it was pocket change. "Rough breakup," she said, shrugging when I asked why she needed a place so suddenly. "Caught him cheating. Didn't want to spend one more night in that bed." Her laugh was soft but cracked at the edges. I should have asked more. I should have trusted the uneasy flicker in my gut that told me this girl was a little too polished, a little too charming, but I didn't. Rent was rent, and the truth is, I was lonely. We signed the lease that night. The first few weeks were a montage of easy mornings in clinking wine glasses. She made herself useful, unloading the dishwasher, walking my terrier mix, Casper, and even organizing the spice rack alphabetically, something I didn't know I needed until she did it. At night, we'd sit on the fire escape and talk. I told her about my job in digital marketing, how it paid the bills but never lit me up inside. About my mom, who passed away from cancer 2 years ago, and my dad, who followed months later, as if he couldn't bear to be without her. I'd grown up in North Carolina, the only child of quiet parents who lived simply and loved deeply. She listened intently, nodding, wide-eyed. Lacey told me about growing up in and out of foster homes, how she dreamed of one day opening a boutique that sold vintage pieces she curated from flea markets and estate sales. Fashion with a story, she said with a wink. It felt nice, safe, like I'd made a friend in this noisy, concrete city that usually just stepped over people like me. One night, we got tipsy off $2 sangria, and she painted my nails this lavender color I never would have picked for myself. She told me, "You're like this unopened present, Natalie. You've got all this potential, but no one's bothered to untie the bow yet." It was the nicest thing anyone had said to me in months, maybe years, but now, thinking back, I realize I wasn't bonding with her. I was feeding her data. Every story I shared was a breadcrumb. My job title, my mother's maiden name, where I was born, the name of my first pet, the fact that my parents had no living relatives, no estate lawyers, no one to check on me or vouch for me. Lacey soaked it all in with a smile. She watched me type in passwords, saw the way I sorted mail, knew when I worked from home and when I went to the office. She played the long game, and I, like a fool, gave her everything. I remember the first real red flag. My favorite cardigan, blue cashmere, a splurge from my first real paycheck, went missing. I figured it was lost in the laundry until Lacey wore it out one night with friends. She came home at 3 a.m., cheeks flushed, cardigan unbuttoned, like it had never belonged to anyone but her. "Oh my God, Nat, I swear I thought this was mine," she laughed, slipping it off as if she hadn't just rewritten ownership with a smile. "Our closets are blending already." I should have stopped her then, set boundaries, reclaimed what was mine. Instead, I just smiled. "No worries," I said. I didn't realize then that was going to become my refrain. "No worries. It's fine. I trust you." By the end of the month, I wasn't sure where I ended, and Lacey began. And that was exactly how she wanted it. It started with a bill. A thin, official-looking envelope slid through the mail slot one Thursday afternoon. I was home early from work, Casper curled at my feet, a half-eaten hummus wrap in my hand, and true crime playing softly on the TV. I almost tossed the envelope with the rest of the junk mail, until I saw it. My name, Natalie Carter, typed in bold. The return address read, Westland Credit Union. A place I didn't bank with, a place I'd never even heard of. I opened it, expecting a marketing flyer, or maybe some spam offer. But instead, it was a confirmation letter. Congratulations on opening your new checking account. Your new debit card will arrive within 5-7 business days. I blinked, checked the date, then read it again. What the hell? I pulled out my phone, checked my banking apps. Everything looked normal with my actual account. No suspicious withdrawals, no opened accounts, no credit alerts. Still, a chill ran down my spine. When Lacey walked through the door an hour later, with a bag of Thai food and a bottle of white wine, I held the envelope up like a badge. "Hey," I said, carefully neutral. "Did you open a bank account in my name as a joke or something?" Her face didn't flinch, not even a flicker. "What? No! Why would I do that?" I held her eyes for a moment, waiting for a crack in the performance. But all I saw was polished confidence, that same effortless smile she'd arrived with. "I don't know. It just showed up." She dropped her purse by the shoe rack and set the food on the counter. "Babe," she said, walking over and touching my shoulder lightly. "Someone probably used your name accidentally. Happens all the time. Maybe you signed up for a store credit card ages ago, and it triggered something?" I wanted to believe her. I needed to believe her. Because if I didn't, then I'd have to face a much darker possibility. That the person living 20 feet from my bedroom, the person who made me peppermint tea when I had cramps, who sang along with me to sad Taylor Swift songs at midnight, that person might be lying to me. And if she was lying about this, what else had she lied about? That weekend, I stayed up until 2 a.m. combing through my digital life. Every account, every password. I even ordered a copy of my credit report. The first thing that hit me, a $3,000 loan application in my name. Declined, thankfully. Then a new phone line, registered in my social security number, but billed to an address in Crown Heights I'd never stepped foot in. Finally, the worst part. A signed apartment lease for a luxury studio in a doorman building, complete with a move-in bonus. The signature? Mine. Well, not mine, but close enough to pass to a leasing office assistant who couldn't care less. I stared at the PDF for nearly a full minute before whispering, "Oh my God." Lacey hadn't just taken a few liberties, she'd gone full invasion. The next morning, I walked into the kitchen and found her at the table, typing on her laptop with her headphones in. She looked up, smiled, offered me coffee. I nodded, playing along. She poured me a cup, just the way I liked it. Almond milk, splash of cinnamon. Perfect. I stared at her hands. Perfect nails, the pale pink kind that looks both innocent and expensive. Probably paid for with my money. She had no idea I knew. Not yet. And right then, right in that moment, I decided I wouldn't confront her. I wouldn't yell, wouldn't scream, wouldn't call the cops. Because the truth is, I wanted more than revenge. I wanted to make her feel safe, let her believe she was winning, that she'd pulled it off, because once someone thinks they've already won, that's when their guard finally drops. Have you ever watched someone walk through your life wearing your skin? I have. For the next 2 weeks, I let Lacey move freely in the little world she thought she'd conquered. She wore my sweaters, used my Netflix, laughed into my phone with my friends, though I noticed she never let me hear the full conversations. She was careful, so careful, but I was quieter, and I was watching. I mirrored her movements, took notes, created backups of my accounts, filed police reports quietly, and signed up for credit monitoring alerts. I even used my lunch breaks to meet with a financial crimes investigator, a woman named Carla, who'd seen scams like this unravel marriages and bankrupt families. "She's smart," Carla told me, flipping through the documents I'd printed. "But she's not patient. People like her? They overstep, get cocky, that's when they slip." I nodded. I wasn't in a rush. I didn't need a quick takedown. I needed a perfect one. I started dropping subtle breadcrumbs, harmless lies designed to bait her. "I might get promoted," I told her over wine one night. "They're asking for my W-2 again." Her eyes flickered. I added, "Oh, and I think I'll open a new account. Something with better fraud protection." Her fingers tensed around her glass. Barely. But I saw it. By the end of the week, I left a post-it on my desk that read, "Password change 528, don't forget," and left my laptop open with a fake password manager screen up, completely fabricated credentials. The next morning, I checked my Bait account. Someone had logged in at 2:13 a.m. I smiled into my coffee. She was hooked. The more she copied me, the more confident she became. She even began shaping herself in my image. I noticed her practicing my voice when she thought I was asleep, pacing the living room, whispering, "Yes, this is Natalie Carter. No, that's not my address anymore. Yes, I recently relocated." She studied my handwriting, even how I sighed on phone calls. It was sick and fascinating. One night, I caught her going through my closet while I was in the hallway, standing frozen as she held up my work badge to the mirror, angling her face just so. For a second, I saw the truth flicker in her expression. She wasn't trying to steal from me anymore. She was trying to be me. That was the moment I stopped being scared of her. She wasn't a mastermind. She was a girl playing dress-up with a life she thought was shinier than her own. And that made her vulnerable. It made her predictable. So, I moved to the next phase. I created a fake email, natalie.carter.legal@gmail.com, and began sending myself messages titled Urgent Identity Fraud Recovery and Case Details OS Court Filing Draft. I left the email open on my laptop once, just long enough for her to walk past and pretend not to look. Later that day, the burner credit card I planted in my purse with a $0 balance had a $500 charge attempt at an online luxury shoe site. Declined, of course. I didn't even flinch. She was spiraling, and I was holding the leash. The final straw came on a Tuesday. I came home early, claiming I wasn't feeling well, and found her in my room. On my computer. Headphones in, totally focused, navigating what looked like a mortgage pre-approval site. I stood in the hallway, silent, watching. She didn't notice me for a full 2 minutes. When she finally turned around, her face turned white. "Oh!" She laughed too loud. "Hey, I was just looking something up. Your internet's faster in here." I smiled. "No worries," I said softly. And in my head, I added, "Just keep going, just a little further." That night, I stared at myself in the bathroom mirror. Same brown eyes, same tired freckles, same two straight hair I always meant to curl. But something was different. I wasn't the same Natalie I'd been when this started. I'd always seen myself as a soft target, quiet, accommodating, easy to overlook. But now? Now I was a hunter. I didn't just want my life back, I wanted to dismantle hers, with the same quiet precision she used on me. And I was almost ready. I didn't plan for it to get physical. That wasn't part of the original script. My plan was intellectual, precise, clean. But real life rarely sticks to the plan. It was Thursday evening when things took a turn. I had planted a flash drive on my desk. A dummy one, loaded with harmless files labeled legal docs and statements pending. It wasn't even plugged into anything, just a shiny red decoy, like a drop of blood in shark-infested waters. And sure enough, Lacey bit. I came home early, again. I'd pretended to forget my wallet, but the truth was, I wanted to see her reaction when she got caught red-handed. What I didn't expect was her reaction when I reached to take the drive out of her hand. She jerked away so fast she knocked my water glass off the table. It shattered into 1,000 pieces against the hardwood. Casper barked from the corner, startled. Then, just for a moment, her face changed. The mask dropped, and what I saw behind it chilled me. It was rage, deep, personal, focused. "You don't understand what you've got," she spat, breathing hard. "You walk through life like you're invisible, and people just give you things. Trust, promotions, smiles. Men hold doors for you. You get grace. You don't even notice it." I stood frozen, still processing. She was unraveling right in front of me. "You think I wanted to steal your life because it's flashy?" she hissed. "No. I stole it because it was available, because you don't even know how lucky you are." She stepped closer, flash drive clutched like a dagger. "I deserved this life more than you ever did." Then she shoved me, not hard, but enough to make me stumble back into the counter. I caught myself, staring at her. This wasn't a petty scam anymore. This was personal. Later, when she went out for her usual Friday night, Pilates and Pinot, with her fake influencer friends, I packed a duffel bag and left, Casper in tow. But not before I carefully unplugged every wire on my router and took the modem with me. Let her stew in silence. I stayed with my older brother for the weekend. Told him I needed a break from apartment drama. He didn't ask for details. He never did. While there, I met with Carla again, the financial investigator. I gave her everything I'd gathered: IP logs, credit pull dates, the audio recording I'd secretly taken of Lacey's meltdown. "You've got her cornered," Carla said. "Now you have to decide. Do you want justice or a show?" I didn't even hesitate. Both. By Monday, the trap was set. I contacted the leasing agent at the luxury studio, the one Lacey had applied for in my name. I introduced myself as Natalie Carter, then followed up with a digital copy of my real ID, a police report, and a certified statement of identity theft. They were horrified and very eager to help. Apparently, Natalie Carter, aka Lacey, had scheduled a move-in date for next week. She'd even paid the deposit, with a card under my name. Perfect. I asked the leasing office to notify her of a sudden paperwork issue and to set a time for her to come in and resolve it. I also asked if they could let me know when she showed up. Thursday morning, I got the call. "She's here," the receptionist whispered over the phone, clearly amused by the whole thing. And, she brought cupcakes? I stifled a laugh. Of course she did. Lacey always believed a good presentation could cover any sin. I thanked them, then texted Carla. "Go time." While Lacey smiled her way through a leasing fraud investigation, a uniformed officer knocked on our apartment door with a warrant. I wasn't there to see her get escorted out. I didn't need to be. But I heard she cried, claimed it was a misunderstanding, that she was just helping a friend, and didn't mean for anything to escalate. But the paperwork didn't lie. Neither did the audio recording of her confession, nor the string of charges on my stolen credit card that tied back to her IP address. It took them less than 48 hours to file charges: identity theft, credit card fraud, wire fraud, attempted impersonation. She was out on bail by Sunday. And just like that, she was gone. The apartment felt weird without her, too quiet. I walked through it slowly, running my hand along the edges of countertops she'd once claimed were hers. Opened the fridge to see all her branded probiotic drinks still sitting there. Casper barked at her empty bedroom, confused, but I felt calm, because I didn't just get my life back. I reclaimed every part of it, by my own hands. It was quiet after she left. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that makes you second-guess everything. Like maybe you dreamed it all. Like maybe the storm never happened, and the sky had always been this blue. But then I'd catch a whiff of her perfume lingering in the hallway, or see her lipstick-stained wine glass I hadn't yet thrown out, or Casper would growl softly at the closet she once used. And I'd remember. Lacey had stolen my name, my accountants, my peace. But I had stolen her illusion, and that was more permanent. Her arraignment was set for the following month. I didn't go. I didn't need to. But I watched the local news that night, just in case they aired the segment. They did. Her mugshot flashed on screen, pale, furious, lips clamped like a child caught red-handed. The anchor called it one of the more brazen identity fraud cases in the city's recent history. Carla texted me afterward. They offered her a plea deal, 5 years probation, 6 months of house arrest. She took it, no contest. It wasn't jail, but it was enough. She'd be labeled for life, the girl who tried to be someone else, and failed. But I didn't stop there. Remember when I said I wanted justice and a show? The show was still coming. A month after the plea deal, I created a new Instagram account. Anonymous, private, no profile pic, just a burner profile with a name like @InPlainSight77. And I started following her. At first, she didn't notice. She was too busy trying to reinvent herself. Her new profile bio read, "Healing, rebuilding, becoming, barf." Every few days, she posted a carousel of aesthetic coffees, blurred sunsets, motivational quotes. People change. Sometimes pain makes you better. Let go of who you were. Step into who you were meant to be. She had a new job as a freelance digital strategist, and in one post, she even shared a before and after transformation photo. The before was a filtered version of me. The after was her, styled to look like a wellness guru with lip gloss and self-awareness. She still wanted to be me, even after everything. That's when I knew. She thought she got away with it. Sure, she'd been caught, charged, penalized, but deep down, she believed she won, that I was too small to truly hurt her, that I was just a speed bump on her redemption arc, and that was her fatal flaw. Because she never once asked herself, what happens when the girl you underestimated is watching? I waited 6 weeks, then I emailed a tip to her new client, a boutique skincare brand she'd just started freelancing for. Just a heads up, your new social media consultant is a convicted fraudster. Here's a court link, do what you will. They fired her within the day. She posted a vague story about being blindsided by cancel culture. I didn't stop there. I reported her Etsy shop, where she was now selling digital affirmations and growth journals, as operating under a false identity. Down it went. I left a few anonymous tips on Reddit threads where she'd posted about overcoming toxicity. She deleted the post soon after. Let her think it was karma. Let her believe the world was punishing her unfairly. Let her chase ghosts and shadows, always wondering how the walls kept closing in. Because I never once said a word directly to her. Not in DMs, not in texts, not even in a whisper. And silence? It rattles people like her more than shouting ever could. You see, I let her think she won. That's what made it hurt more. She thought she pulled off the ultimate heist, stole a girl's life, wore it like a mask, tossed it when it got inconvenient. She thought I was weak, passive, a background character in her story. She never realized I was writing a different script all along. One where the villain never gets a final monologue. One where the ending is quiet, but sharp. One where the real protagonist never raises her voice, because she doesn't need to. Casper snores beside me now, curled up like a loaf of bread on the couch. A soft, content hum in the silence. The apartment is peaceful again. I light a candle. Vanilla and cedarwood. My favorite. She hated it. I smile, and then I open a blank document. Title it, How I Got My Life Back. Because sometimes the best revenge is living well and letting the other person spend every waking moment wondering why it's all falling apart. 6 months passed. Seasons changed. Leaves burned gold and dropped. Then the chill came. The air stiffened and the city turned silver with frost. And I thrived. Promotion at work. A new lease on a better place, downtown, with a doorman who actually remembered my name. Casper had a rooftop garden to sniff around. And me? I finally slept without checking my credit report every morning. But one thing stayed the same. She kept trying to come back. It started small. A text from an unknown number. I know you're still angry, but I want to talk. Then came an email to my personal account. You were always smarter than me. I get that now. Can we meet? I didn't reply. Not once. But I read them. Every single one. Because I wanted to understand the psychology of someone who could burn a life down and then ask for the ashes back. She wasn't sorry. She was cornered. And like every manipulator backed into a wall, she'd shifted tactics, from dominance to desperation. Still, I didn't respond. Then, one night in December, she sent a letter. A real, handwritten one, slid under the door of my new building. Somehow. The handwriting was unmistakable, loopy, elegant, the kind that tried too hard to look effortless. The envelope simply read, Natalie. I didn't open it right away. I made myself a cup of tea, put on soft jazz, let Casper curl up at my feet. Then, with calm fingers, I tore it open. It was 6 pages long, front and back, a symphony of self-pity. She wrote about her trauma, about years of feeling invisible, about the pressures of performing for social media, and how jealousy ate her alive. But what stood out most? She still didn't apologize. Not truly. Not once did she say, I'm sorry I tried to erase you. Instead, she closed with this. I just hope someday you can see that I didn't hate you. I just wanted to be you. And maybe, in some twisted way, I thought I was better at it. I folded the letter carefully and slid it into a file labeled, Keep in Case of Future Nonsense. Then I took a breath and let it go. You'd think revenge would leave you feeling triumphant. But here's the truth no one tells you. The real high comes not from watching someone fall. It comes from standing so tall that you no longer care who's kneeling at your feet. A week later, I got one last message. This time, from Carla. Thought you'd want to know. She's moving out of state. Some small town in Nevada. Looks like she changed her last name. Again. I stared at the screen for a long time, then typed back. Let her run. I'm done. Because she could change her name 100 times, move across every state line in the country, try to shapeshift her way into a new life. But deep down, she'd always know the truth. She lost. Not because I outsmarted her, but because I outlived the version of me she tried to steal. Somewhere out there, there's a girl pretending to be a better version of herself, still chasing a fantasy, still hoping no one sees the cracks underneath the glitter. But me? I'm just me. And I sleep beautifully at night knowing this. She can fake names, steal numbers, copy styles, and even wear my smile like a costume. But she'll never have the one thing I never gave her: peace. Have you ever encountered a similar incident before? If this story resonates with you, hit the like button and leave your story in the comment section. And of course, subscribe to my channel for more real, raw, and ridiculous stories.